So for a lot of reasons, that Nintendo Direct was extremely disappointing to a lot of people. But at the same time, even though there was a bunch of outrage and people who are always going to be mad no matter what, there was a decent amount of people, particularly within my community, that decided that this was a fine Direct. I asked you guys in a poll in my community tab, the Nintendo Direct just wrapped up, what grade do you give it? 19% said A, 43% said B, 25% said C, and 14% said D. That means that 78% of you, 78% thought it was either a B or C Direct. I happened to really enjoy the Direct. There were a lot of fun announcements. I felt like my expectations were in check. I did not think there were going to be big franchises coming or anything like that. I just expected a good Direct, and I even predicted that a Fire Emblem game would be coming. And lo and behold, we got Fire Emblem to close out the show as the one more thing. Are you a Nintendo fan, or are you a Mario fan? Are you a Zelda fan? Are you a Smash fan, Animal Crossing fan? What kind of fan are you? Because this is Nintendo, and the Direct you just watched was the Nintendo Direct, not the Mario Direct, not the Animal Crossing Direct. They have plenty of franchises, so many of them, and I happen to love a lot of them, most of them that they make pretty frequently. I like, and a lot of other people feel the same way. And if you're only a fan of 2 or 3, how can you call yourself a Nintendo fan? It's just that you're a fan of those specific series. And if you're going into a Direct looking for those same things every single time, and there are going to be times that you just don't get those franchises, that you just don't get those games. Why? Because they're Nintendo. They're not Mario. They're not Zelda. They're all of these things combined. And of course, Mario and Zelda and Animal Crossing make up the biggest portions of their company, particularly with Mario and Zelda. But those games are going to come eventually. When you buy a Switch 2, you need to know you're going to get those games eventually. And for right now, this first year, it's for the core gamers. It's for those core Nintendo fans that are getting all of these great games. With the Switch 1, they needed to convince you to buy it. With the Switch 2, they know you're going to buy it. They know that all of these fans are going to come back. And so for those core fans, they are delivering. Fire Emblem is a semi-popular series. It's a little bit on the niche side, but it is a popular franchise, and it is one that most Nintendo fans, I think, enjoy, that a lot of Nintendo fans will buy. There are fans of specific series, and then there are fans of all of these series together. I love Mario, I love Zelda, I love Smash, I love Animal Crossing, I love Splatoon, I love Xenoblade Chronicles. I love all of these different franchises, and so when I go into a Direct, I'm expecting certain things, right? Maybe I'll think, okay, we're probably gonna get Luigi's Mansion, and we're probably gonna get this, and we're probably gonna get that, but I'm not going into it only looking for 1 or 2 things and being upset when they don't give me that, because they're not the Mario company. They are Nintendo. They are going to give us a bunch of games from different IPs, and there are going to be some Directs where we get some mind-blowing announcements from the biggest franchises they have, and some Directs where they give us a little bit less. So yes, I enjoyed this Direct a lot, and I enjoyed Fire Emblem being the last game. I cannot wait to get my hands on it, and sure, I was a little disappointed when I first saw that this was the one more thing, because I was expecting maybe a Mario Maker 3 or a Luigi's Mansion 4, something a little bit bigger, something more that caters to me, because I like Fire Emblem, but I wouldn't say I love it yet, because I just don't know a lot about the series, and Three Houses was the only game I cared about, really. So moving into this Direct, moving into this game, I was just looking forward to it. Like, I at first my reaction was like, I don't know. But then I was like, you know what? Cool, Fire Emblem. I predicted that it would be here, so here we are, a new Fire Emblem game. This year is stacked. It's stacked. We have so many games. Not a lot of them are from huge IPs, and I get that, but it's still Nintendo IPs. It's still Nintendo. At the Nintendo Direct, we got plenty of games to look forward to. We got Metroid Prime 4 coming out in December. That game looks amazing. Kirby Air Riders in November. Age of Imprisonment, an amazing game coming out in November. We've got Pokemon in October. And this month, we've got some great games as well, with Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 coming at the very start of October. I have so much to look forward to. And then early 2026, Mario Tennis. I love Mario Tennis. I cannot wait for that game. In the spring, we have Tomodachi Life. We have Super Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 Edition, which is hiding a whole bunch of secrets. We have plenty to look forward to coming up. And Fire Emblem is one of those games that is going to come eventually, just like Smash will, just like Animal Crossing will. So be patient. And if you are a Nintendo fan that bought your Nintendo console, don't be upset that the 3 or 4 franchises that you just so happen to love above everything else and you don't care and aren't willing to try anything else, don't be upset. Don't be upset because they are coming. And if you only like a Switch and a Switch 2 for the very specific franchises that you have, why did you buy the console already? Like, if you're not gonna play all of these other games that Nintendo has to offer, why did you buy it? That's kind of your own fault for buying a console and expecting the games to come immediately in terms of your franchise. We have plenty of games this year. We got Mario Kart and Donkey Kong to start us off with a huge bang, and we have a lot coming up. And all these franchises will eventually come. You will get these games. So if you want them, wait for them. Be patient, they are coming. With other companies like PlayStation, for example, Last of Us was a big series that they had for a little bit. Uncharted was a big series they had for a little bit. Horizon is new, but a lot of their stuff is kind of innovative, right? Everything they do is different and new. With Nintendo, every generation you can expect the same kind of thing. You can expect a different Mario Kart every generation. Different 3D Mario, different 3D Zelda, different Smash Brothers every generation. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. These games are coming, so please be patient and don't dog on other people for loving Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave will be coming in 2026, and this game looks amazing. For Fire Emblem fans, this is great. The game appears to be some sort of sequel or prequel to Three Houses, which is exactly what we all wanted. Three Houses was amazing. It was the best-selling Fire Emblem game, I believe, of all time. It is such a great game, and I am so excited to play this one. The cutscenes look good, the weapons look cool, the character designs look amazing, the storyline's going to be great, I'm sure. I just can't wait to get my hands on it. And I'm not even a huge Fire Emblem fan, right? I played Three Houses, and that was pretty much it. Engage wasn't my thing. It wasn't as good as I was hoping for, and this art style is more similar to Engage than I would have expected it to be, but still, I'm not complaining. And yet, people are mad. People are real mad, and they are hating on Fire Emblem. Why is this? Well, it was the last game in this 1-hour Nintendo Direct in which people were disappointed. Instead of a Luigi's Mansion 4, instead of a Animal Crossing, instead of a Smash Brothers, we got another Fire Emblem game. And people are upset about that because it feels as though we get one every year. We get so many Fire Emblem games and no one cares about them because it's just a bunch of anime slop. I totally disagree with this mindset, and I think Super Smash Bros. Has done irreparable damage to this series. People are hating on Fire Emblem more than ever when it's just not that big of a deal. Why are we hating on a game in which most people probably aren't even going to pick up because it wasn't what you wanted? We got ourselves Fire Emblem Warriors back in 2019. Then in 2023, they gave us Fire Emblem Engage, and now 2 years later, we are getting a brand new one. That can be frustrating. I get that 100%, to have all these other series like Animal Crossing and Smash having been so many years ago and not getting a new installment, and this is the 3rd game in the last decade for Fire Emblem. That is understandable, but what I really, really despise is when people take a game and they hate on it and they hate on their community and they despise everything about it simply because it wasn't the game that they wanted, and they're never going to play it. It's not the game itself that they actually hate because they don't know much about the gameplay. They're just hating because they didn't get what they wanted, which was something else like Smash. So here is the point of today's video. Fire Emblem discourse has gone too far. It's gone way too far. This game doesn't look bad. In fact, it looks phenomenal. I think it looks a lot better than Fire Emblem Engage. I think the gameplay is going to be there. They made a very, very specific emphasis on showing us gameplay early. That was very intentional. That was a move by the developers to say, you know what, we heard your cries in the last game. We heard how the story and the graphics weren't all that good, but the gameplay was amazing, and we didn't highlight that enough for Engage, and people didn't care much about it because it didn't look as good as Three Houses was to so many people. So now what we're going to do is show you the cutscenes first. We're going to show you all these cool characters. We're going to show you this story means business, and then we're going to show you that gameplay, that hook, the reason that people love Fire Emblem so much is the turn-based strategy. And I didn't play a lot of Engage, and I didn't play hardly any Fire Emblem games before, so maybe this is me reading into this and just not knowing what I'm talking about, but the gameplay looked very similar to Three Houses. It looked a lot like Three Houses because of the weapon design and because of the actual board itself. With those little blue squares and the red squares, they just remind me of Three Houses, and maybe that's something that every game does, but for whatever reason, the UI looked very specific to Three Houses. So I felt like they were trying to appeal to that crowd of saying, you know what, you all love Three Houses, and we're not going to go back to that. We're going to move forward. We're going to make a new storyline, but it's going to be centered around that game. These are all the subtle nuances that someone who watches a trailer like this and hates it and never even tries to look at it, they're just going to miss it. They're going to miss all of these things. They're going to miss the point. They're going to miss the plot, and they're going to hate because it was the game that ended the Direct, and that was such poor timing by Nintendo. I really think this Direct would have been way better for people if they had started with Fire Emblem and ended with Mario's anniversary. Because at the very beginning, at least they could have those expectations dropped. Because if people were really thinking this was going to be the biggest Direct ever and it opened with Fire Emblem, I don't think many people would have been frustrated at the series. I think they just would have said, okay, we're starting with Fire Emblem. Okay, that probably means we're not going to get a lot moving forward, because anytime there are those B, C tier franchises, which I would classify Fire Emblem as, you kind of think, okay, this isn't going to be the best Direct ever. It's just going to be a solid one, and then you move on. But when you start with Mario, with all those big games, all the re-releases and his anniversary, you kind of set up those expectations for the ending to be better. Especially that opening shot showing off what looked like Kid Icarus to so many people. I saw several reactions of people being like, oh my gosh, Kid Icarus is back, we're getting a Kid Icarus remake, and then it was Fire Emblem. And that always seems to unfortunately be the case with this franchise. It just always shows up at the wrong time. The only game I can really think of it not showing up at the wrong time was in 2019, 2018 when it was announced for the Switch. People didn't care because all these other big games were alongside it. But the second that Nintendo decides to push this as its own thing, even though it's worth it and it's popular and it's a good franchise, and I mean it's even more popular than Metroid and people don't complain about Metroid being anywhere, it just so happens that Fire Emblem shows up at the wrong time. Back in Engage, when it was announced, it was like the opening to a Nintendo Direct, and that was very disappointing to a lot of people. They were like, oh my gosh, another Fire Emblem game. And then we had the Fire Emblem Byleth character being put into Smash Bros. Ultimate, and that ended off the very first DLC package for those fighters, and people were mad. Because at the time, I don't think we knew that there was going to be a second DLC package for a bunch of new fighters in Smash, and people were like, oh my gosh, all of these cool characters from third parties, and to end it off, we have Byleth from Fire Emblem. People were furious. That is one of the most angry times I can remember for the Nintendo community, outside of this year probably, but that was crazy, and people have just hated Fire Emblem because of it. Smash Brothers Fire Emblem has gotten a ton of representation. There is more Fire Emblem characters than Zelda characters. There are more Fire Emblem characters than Kirby characters. All of these big franchises, like I think the amount of Mario characters in Smash match up with Fire Emblem. People just feel Fire Emblem hate and fatigue from overuse of the franchise, even though there really hasn't been a ton of overuse. Like, we had 2 games in the Switch era, and then we have a new one right now, a brand new one, and that makes a ton of sense because Engage was leaked, and once we knew that it was leaked, they said that it had been done for years, it had been ready for the anniversary of Fire Emblem, and that they were already working on the next game, and we even had rumors of remakes and such, so Fire Emblem has stayed in the news, people have been talking about it, so maybe that's where the overuse comes from, but the hate is just unprecedented. I don't understand it at all. People will complain about it being anime and that it's just a terrible franchise and that it shows up too much, and then turn around and love Mario, which is very cartoony, and like, I understand it's not anime, but it's still animated. It's still cartoony, if you want to call it that, and I just don't understand the insult, and really, the insult isn't what they care about. What they care about is that their franchise and their game did not show up, and Fire Emblem, yet again, did. Because with Smash Brothers, those characters are huge. Like, everyone weighs all of those characters, and they just know that they want a new one, and they just want their own character so bad. They want Master Chief, they want Banjo and Kazooie, they wanted all these characters, and to see Byleth, to see, oh my goodness, another Fire Emblem character, knowing it was a wasted slot, was infuriating, and that rolled over into the franchise itself. Unfortunately, I think this is just going to be something that Fire Emblem is going to have to deal with until there are bigger games coming out and people just don't care as much. And the same people that complain about Fire Emblem showing up, that complain about Xenoblade showing up all the time, are the same people that would die to have a new Animal Crossing game and a new Animal Crossing spin-off and a new Mario game every single year and not ever get tired of it because they love those franchises and they don't love Fire Emblem. So it's quite hypocritical, in my opinion, for people to go online and just trash the series, trash this game, trash the trailer because they didn't get what they wanted, and then ended off a direct that was overall a little bit disappointing for people. The amount of reactions I saw to people seeing it was Fire Emblem and then just being like, okay, I'm done, I'm out, wanting to end their live stream or wanting to end whatever video they were doing and just moving on with their day because Nintendo was at it again. They disappointed me. I had no expectations and they already disappointed me. Stuff like that, it just gets me. It just gets me down, and I don't understand why people have to say all that, why they have to go out of their way to hate on a franchise that is popular enough to deserve these games. Even Kirby, right? Kirby gets games all the time, and people don't complain like this. Kirby gets way, way more games than any other franchise that Fire Emblem could ever hope to match up to. And yet, people don't complain. People don't troll on Kirby and say it's the worst thing since Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival or something like that. But it's just infuriating to see, and it's got to be so disappointing for Fire Emblem fans to be so unbelievably happy to get new games all the time when they do, and then for this to be the response, for people to hate on them for liking the series when they just want to play a new game. Like, if you loved Fire Emblem as much as these people did, you would love this. So why are we hating on it? Let's just move forward. If you were disappointed, say, man, Fire Emblem, I don't like that series. Okay, and then move on. Just move on. We don't have to go out and spread hate and hate on the franchise, hate on the fan base, hate on the developers for making a game that people genuinely love and genuinely are interested in. This is a brand new game, a Switch 2 exclusive that we can look forward to for people who care about this franchise. It's just another game. It's another exclusive to add to the pile and to add to all of the great games that we are going to get this year and next year. And also, as much as I would love to, I don't know enough about the series to break down this trailer, but is this a gun? Is she holding a gun in my Fire Emblem game? What? I am hoping that this video helps stop some of this discourse, help spread some positivity, because the franchise really does need more people on its side, and I am not a huge Fire Emblem fan, but I will take its side, and I am excited to play this game, as should most people. So thank you for making it to the very end. Let me know, were you a part of this? Did you really not like Fire Emblem? Did you really hate on this game and hate on Nintendo for making it the one more thing? Let me know your opinions down below. Make sure you press that like button and that hype button. The hype button particularly is a new button that helps out the channel a lot. You press the like and there's the hype. You press the hype and then subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to join the community, join the channel, and press that notification button so you know exactly when all my videos release. Make sure you click on the left side of your screen to watch my video breaking down Age of Imprisoment's new trailer, and click on the right side of your screen to watch my Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 video talking about the price point in that whole debacle. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. You are amazing. Have yourself a phenomenal day. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk. I have been Ray, and I will see you all in the next video.